can't even relax. The name of the show is Unbothered, and I can't relax. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unbothered by Ty Rivera. I'm clearly bothered right now. My little dog is going crazy. For no reason at all, but nonetheless, we come to you from high atop Ty Rivera Studios, a.k.a. Casa de Annoying Bijou.
That's right.
Today, our guest is Miss Kayla Bernadette.
Hey, y'all.
She is the better half to Mr. Eric Abenante, who we had on one episode ago, right before Samir Suri.
Correct.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you about all sorts of fun stuff. But the thing was, right now you just got some food from the place across. Yeah, that's one of the last times I was truly bothered, because I joke about being bothered by Bijou right now, but I'm not. I'm not tripping off of her. she's what she is, and she's gonna be that. So yeah, you went to the Chinese place. Well, it's Chinese, Mexican, and Guatemalan food.
Oh, nice.
Is what they advertise as. They're the trifecta, apparently. And so the thing was, I don't go in there because me and the lady there got in an argument.
Really? Over what?
Well, the first time that we kind of got into it was because this bitch told me that you can't make a bean burrito. Yeah, she said that it's not possible, and I was like, I'm Mexican.
Yeah, it's like, girl, this is practically Mexico.
Yeah,
so,
I grew up eating bean burritos. I know that you can make, so then she said that, she had been making burritos for 20 years, and I looked at her and I felt like, that you're late in the burrito making game.
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing her resume. It's like burrito making, 1984 to...
Yeah,
apparently
present.
there was a gap.
It's just present. Yeah, there was a time that she took off from making burritos. Yeah. She was like, I'm just going to concentrate on the Chinese.
She had to find herself in Guatemala or something.
Yeah, and now so then this bitch says that, okay? So that day I was like in a mood where I was like, whatever, and I just went to another place and got a bean burrito because that's what I just really was craving that day. So then another time I walk in there with Bijou and Jerry, and I know how it works, and I know you have to pay for your stuff first, and I've been living here for like 3 years now, and I used to go there kind of a lot. And so I go in, I order my food, and then I'm like, but I want to drop my dogs off at my apartment, so can I just pay you right now? I don't know what I'm going to drink. I was like, just charge me for a drink, and then I'll grab it when I come back. And she was like, what kind of drink are you going to get? And I was like, I don't know right now. I'll pick it out when I'm getting ready to leave. And then she was like, well, I need to know what drink you're getting so I know what to charge you. And I was like, yeah, well, just charge me for the most expensive one, and then I'll come back and pick whichever one I want, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Soda, so it's going to be, what, like 40 cents or 20 cents, the difference at the most. So I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted to get rid of my dogs real quick, so I didn't have them in there. And also so I could just waste time, so my food's already ready and I don't have to just sit around and wait for it to be ready. But then she still insists that she has to know what kind of soda I'm getting. And I was like, okay, I don't know why you can't just charge me for the most expensive soda you have, and then I just come back and pick whichever one, and then if you need to put it in, then put it in, or do whatever you have to do. I mean, maybe it's for inventory reasons, which I didn't say this to her, but I did say, put it in if you have, at the end. But maybe it's for inventory reasons, and you need to know which soda I took specifically. Okay, well, then do that when I come back. For right now, you can just charge me. I can pay you so that my order is made, and you guys start making it. I run across the street. So I just, at that point, I got annoyed with her. And so I was like, you know what, just cancel it. And then she was like, fuck your mother. And that's exactly what she said. And that's exactly what she said. And I was like, fuck your mother, bitch. Yes. And then it fucking went to...
And then you fucked her mother right in her face.
Right in front of her face.
Brought that bitch a plane ticket.
You saw how old she was, so you can imagine how old her mother was. And I fucked her right there in front of her. Fucked her mother.
Do some BDSM with the noodles. Just tie them up and...
Maybe. Why not?
Why not?
They're Asian. They're probably into some kinky shit.
Yeah.
Bet I could finagle a hell of a massage out of it.
Maybe.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's why I hate that bitch. And we got in a whole argument, and then she threatened to call the cops, which only made me want to stay more because I was like, there's nothing the cops are going to do about this. You told me fuck my mother. Of course I'm going to be upset with you. I mean, it's not like, because I really, that's the way she went from like, just, I was annoyed. Like, cancel the fucking order. If you can't fucking do something so fucking simple, then cancel the fucking order. I'm out of here. And then she goes to fuck your mother. I'm like, no.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, so that's, that's life when you're dealing with annoying people that don't know how things work.
True.
Never mind. Anyway, so I brought one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you was because I think you might be able to explain to me some of what's been getting on my nerves about a particular community. The feminists.
The feminists, that's right.
I'm just not a fan of these whiny people.
Yeah, I can understand why. I have to admit it. I grew up with Tumblr. I'm not sure if you've heard about the whole Tumblr community and.
Yeah, just before we get to the Tumblr, so that everybody knows who I'm talking to, can you describe yourself a little bit? Ethnicity, age, whatever you think would be important for me to know.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Just your age, your ethnicity, and like if you think there's anything important for me to know, because
Sure.
like sometimes people try to spring on me, like I went through this much school, like they try to say that like it's supposed to be a big fucking like
Right.
conversation ender or something. Like I don't know if there's anything about you think I should know.
Well, I am 24.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Florida, and here's the thing about my ethnicity. I'm black,
Okay.
but for some reason, ever since I was a child, people would always come up to my family, and they always be like, "What are you? What are you?" Like I'm some kind of like alien. I'm like, I don't get it. To me, I think I look black, but apparently there's something about me or my family that makes people think that we're from the islands or.
Yeah, I can see that totally.
For some reason in this country.
Brazilian or yeah.
Right. For some reason in this country, if you're not purely dark-skinned with a flat nose and an afro, people think that you're mixed with other things, or they say that, oh, you're exotic.
Yeah.
You're exotic, like we're some type of bird or something. So so yes, I am black, but here's the thing. I was looking at a photograph of my great-grandmother, and apparently she was a white woman. So irks on that whole thing. So I'm a little lost right now.
Your great-grandmother was a white woman?
I don't know. When I found that out, I marched straight to my local country club. I was like, I need my membership right now. I put on my boat shoes. I was like, Mom, we're going full force. I made my mother go to Juicy Couture. I was like, bitch, I'm fitting in with these Japs. Like, we're doing it. Like
The white woman vibe. The white woman took over in you.
Right.
So you just found that out?
This was pretty recent, yeah. I mean, my grandmother, she was always very light-skinned, so there was a little speculation. So I don't know. I might have to do a little DNA swap. Those things are never accurate.
Yeah, that DNA swab. I just heard a joke about that the other day, and it was a joke that was really similar to like something I had thought of, not something I had said on stage or anything. Like I know that this comic didn't hear me or took it from me, but like it's that ancestry.com commercial where that woman finds out she's part Native American and she's like, I can't wait to learn about my culture, and it's like, this bitch is gonna be insufferable for the rest of her life.
I can picture her showing up to the reservation like, how y'all, just like trying to like teach me how to like make your corn and do all this and trying to integrate herself.
She's just gonna
like,
be unbearable. It's just gonna be like, oh, nobody likes you. Nobody. She's gonna wear fucking Santa Fe print on everything. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's one that's just I gotta be unbearable. So now you're the white woman version of that, or the black version of that. Well, I guess take advantage of being white.
That's right.
So and then like, okay, and so you went to college, or did you?
I did. Right. Here's the thing. I am a product of Florida public school. And for those that don't know, Jeb Bush had his hand with that. He just took us and said, you know what, no child left educated, I guess. because there was a lot of us not learning stuff. So in school, it was a little hard for me. So I ended up going to community college.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with that. I really wanted to go to a great school. I wanted to go to a university and all that. So I dropped out of community college right away. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing what I love. I need to do what I want. And I went straight to film school. And I ended up going to this film school in Orlando. It's called Full Sail University. And it's a very, very expensive school. But okay, for those of you who don't know, Full Sail, Full Sail students were pretty much drowning in loans.
Yeah, you
like,
guys.
When I left, it was about $90,000 for our bachelor's degree in
So
film.
you really had your heart set on Bernie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Baby.
You really were hoping this Bernie thing would go
yeah.
through. You had a different
I was
kind of.
Mama's got some loans to pay. Stick out for us. But yeah, I went to film school for about 2 years, and I got a four-year degree out of that. And that's basically where I learned the ins and outs of the whole industry. I've learned basically every single job in film there. It's fantastic. I just think the loans are a little too much. But and when I went to that college, it was a great atmosphere and everything. Had a huge gay population. And that's where I kind of started going to the gay clubs.
Just a bunch of fags everywhere in film
right.
school, huh? Just fucking disgusting.
Right, yeah.
Just fucking
Those same
disgusting.
fags.
These fags, I mean, I love my people, but we're a lot. I mean, we are a lot. There's a reason they don't allow you to drive down those streets near Melrose. And those signs where I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over near Melrose where it says the words "no cruising."
Right.
That is because of the fags.
No way.
Yes,
Oh.
girl. We use it that's right behind those gay bars. But I just bring it up because if you went to school with fags, there was some dirty shit happening in your fucking school.
That's right. Here's the thing. In my school, I was trying to find myself and figure out what my sexuality was and all of that. So I would go to these clubs and I would just be free and I would dance and hang out with whoever. And one of the clubs that I would go to was Pulse.
Oh, you used to go to Pulse.
Right. And to this day, it, I guess, blows my mind is the wrong choice of words.
Yeah, blew a lot of people's minds. Other parts, too.
It just...
That's kind of unfortunate what happened out there.
Yeah. And I would go to Pulse every single weekend.
Any lesbo action?
A little bit. See, here's the
I knew we'd find it.
I would go there by myself, so I guess people would automatically know that I was single. And I would go straight to the middle of the dance floor, and I would just dance my heart out. I would pretend like it was my last night that I was fucking dancing.
Oh, I've been
I
there.
would just dance
I've
my
been
heart
there.
out. And there
So
were
meth,
always,
huh?
Probably no. I was on a lot of ADD pills.
Okay.
So
ADD
maybe,
pills. All right.
maybe.
Yeah. That is fucking meth right there.
But maybe.
If
But
you're Adderall in it. What is
maybe.
Adderall's for ADD,
I
right?
have tried Adderall.
Yeah.
I have tried
Tweaker.
Adderall.
Tweaker.
Yeah. But I was prescribed it. But yeah, I would go to Pulse all the time and
I've been prescribed a lot of
Ty,
things.
you know what, Ty? That whole prescription thing, that's a whole other podcast if you want to
Yeah,
get into
we'll
that.
talk about it on
But
another one.
anyway, on to Pulse. So I would go there and there would be lines of people waiting to dance with me. Seriously,
lines.
Pulse was the most welcoming, the most friendly club in the world. Not a single... There was never drama. No one ever fought there. The music was amazing. There was love everywhere. It was such a beautiful place. And to know that one of the biggest...
So Molly was your thing. I'm getting it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm getting it. Molly, some shrooms every once in a while. So you used to party at Pulse, and then that like devastated you when you heard. I'm sure that.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked. I remember reading one of the Tex Mexicans.
Tex Mexicans, you
Um,
racist! How dare you?
I remember reading the texts from one of the guys. He was in the bathroom, and he was saying, "Mom, I'm in the bathroom right now. Oh my gosh, I think he's coming." And the second I read that, I had flashbacks to when I would be in those bathrooms, just hanging out with some of the gay guys, just like taking selfies in the mirror, and it was just. And to know that people got slaughtered right fucking there, it's still like I'm shaking right now. It's still like crazy to this day, but.
Yeah, no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when people feel like they can't express themselves.
That's right.
And that's like in my opinion, that's kind of what keeps happening, that people. That's why I'm a strong proponent of people should be able to say whatever's on their mind, because at least then they're thinking it, and also they
Right.
get to vent it a little bit. Making things unspeakable, I think, is what makes people do unspeakable things. Like
True.
suddenly it's something that if you had been able to talk to a friend about it, it could have maybe very easily been diffused.
Right.
But since you feel like you can't even say that you're having these feelings, or you think this way, then all you have is online encouragement, or the people that kind of want to lead
True.
you in a way that's not the most productive. I see that happening on both sides, really, and that's why I think I have a problem with like when we were talking about feminism. Like one of my things with the way that new school feminism works out is, in a lot of cases, it seems like rather than want equality, they want their vote or their word to mean more, with a lot of the feminists that I have dealt with, especially online.
I think what it really is we just want people to be aware of what we go through, because I think we've gone through years and years of our voices being silenced, and I think we're finally entering an age where all of these issues are finally being brought up to the public. Like 10, 15, 20 years ago, we weren't talking about, sexual abuse or any of these things on this level, with Twitter and all of that. And I think finally these things are coming out of the woodworks, and people just want to be heard.
Do you ever wish, though, as a feminist, because I don't know, specifically, or how you express yourself as a feminist, because I've had like some of my older feminist friends hit me up like over private message after I'll post like fuck feminist and like that kind of
Right.
stuff, like the kind of stuff that I post when I'm angry with these people. I'll have my friends that are old school feminists hit me up and be like, some of the stuff that younger people do just makes me sad. Like, it's not what we were fighting for. It's not what we were about. So do you notice a lot of that, or are you more on the cheerleading side where you think that all of these things should be an issue?
You know what? I actually talk about this in my set a few times. There are some issues in feminism that I do think we should be talking less about, that I do think don't really matter in the grand scheme of life.
Yeah.
And I think one of those issues is body hair. And I know this coming from, as an ex-Tumblr user, it's probably going to bite me in the ass when I become famous. That you see a lot of the whole thing with armpit hair. And I see this mostly with upper class women or white women who are trying to, they're trying to grow out their armpit hair and dye it different colors. And, that's great and all, but when you go to their blogs, that's their main cause. Their main cause is like sex and body hair and body issues. It's like there are other things. There are more.
I
It's like
agree.
we can talk about that.
And I
but-
gotta be honest with you, because like you bring this up, and it's something I've thought about, because
Right.
I've had a few friends that have decided to be natural and not shave their armpits. And like if they're wearing like a, you know, tank top, a wife beater, something like that, the whole time they're talking, all I can think is, bitch, can you shave those pits already so I can take you seriously? All I keep looking at is your fucking hairy pits. Like, and I know that that's not the way I should see it. I'm not saying I'm right to see it this way, but I really do. So if people are making that their actual thing, like where that's like, because you're saying there's a community, because I didn't even know this. I didn't know they had a community that was encouraging them. It makes sense that they do now that I think about it, but I never thought about that.
It's not that there's a community. It's just you'll go to some of these women's blogs, and half of their selfies are them just like with their arm up. It's like, okay, or them showing their pubic hair, or sometimes they'll make art out of their period blood, and it's like, what are you doing?
Okay.
I mean, I have to admit, I don't get grossed out looking at that stuff. I'm an artist. If that's how you want to express yourself, honey, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. If you want to drench yourself in period blood and reenact your birth, go ahead. You know what? But
there's a lot of period blood.
If that's your main cause, then what are you doing?
Heavy flow bitch we're talking about here.
Right. And the other problem is, we'll have free the nipple parades, which are great. And we'll have slut walks, which are fantastic. But where are the parades for the women who are dying because they're women and can't get an education? Where are the parades for the girls who can't go to school because they get their periods? Or, it's like there are bigger issues out there.
I agree on that,
really
100%. Yeah, like
for.
it's picking a lot of easy battles in some cases, and then forgetting all about the one that actually might make a or would make a difference, really. Sure. Yeah, especially with the amount of time and energy that these people will devote to arguing these things online. You would think if they did it, like channeled it towards something more positive, then they could really make a change, because at the end of the day, whether or not you shave your armpit hair isn't saving the world or even starting towards it, where like you're saying, if it's something more like, to fight for women's rights to get education in different countries, that's something that actually obviously is important. That's I think I feel you on a lot of that, especially because when it comes to actual feminism, I'm down. But it's like the new school, like I want to whine for nothing. It's like, no, I don't have your back on that at all. Exactly. And then sometimes it's stuff where I'm somewhere in the middle, like catcalls. Like my area is some of the stuff these people complain about that they call catcalls, I feel like come spend an afternoon in my neighborhood and see what catcalls are really like. See what it's like when they are aggressive. I walked through the park with my friend Cassie, and it was a whole different world. I even felt like, stop being such a creep. I mean, like, she sees you, or, you already said hello. It's time to. But, like, when they did the experiment, the cat calls, the video for YouTube, that, I think, was not helpful at all. Because she was taking even just polite hellos as cat calls. And when somebody says hello, you can't be like, ugh, these cat calls.
Yeah.
It's like they said hello.
It's one thing when a man comes up to you and he's like, hey, you kind of look nice, or hello, miss, or how you doing, or something like that. That's one thing. But there are some men who will straight up be like, damn, what's that pussy like? And you're just like, what?
And what is it like?
To me. It's happened to me.
And what
so
is it like?
I know.
Good question, though. Good question.
It's happened to me so many times where I've just learned to make a sketch out of it. I learned to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you wanna do a scene? Okay, let's let's do a scene. So sometimes, a man, he'll if you say something nasty, I'll just stop and I'll act like I'm about to throw up, or I'll just be like, oh, or something like that, or I'll just look at them crazy, or I'll just like.
Yeah, that's a good defense. A lot of people don't understand. If you can make people think you're crazy, people leave you alone right away.
Right.
Like if you can do a good crazy, they'll definitely leave you alone.
I've had some practice.
Yeah, so, but, the stuff that people complain about, it's like in a lot of cases, I feel like, did you ask him to stop or did you publicly shame them? Because that's what I've done with people in my life. And I think that sometimes people try to make a cause out of the fact that they're not strong enough to do what they have to do in just a regular everyday situation that all of us have to deal with in different ways. Like, you may get catcalled, I get asked for cigarettes. Either way, we're both getting bothered.
Right.
Either way, we're both being stopped in our day and what we want, where we want to be. And like, there are different levels of even people asking you for a cigarette. There's the people that'll try to shake you down and act like you owe them something when you tell them you don't have one, So we all get, so I guess my thing is a lot of times it's like, don't you think a lot of these women should figure this out maybe in diaries instead of on blogs?
You know what? I think there are some things maybe, but I think it is great that it's online so that we can see these concerns, so that we can see what it is that women go through. Because I'm sure there are some men that had no idea that women felt that way. I've even had friends catcall women in front of me, and I've even been like, wait, well, why did you do that? And they're just like, oh, well, I just wanted to fucking do it. Honestly, most of the times guys just do it because they can, and it's so sometimes you
How
just
do they
can't take it that
catcall?
seriously.
But like, what they do? How'd they catcall?
They'll just be like, hey, psst, hey, psst, hey, ma, hey, come over here, hey, get over, hey, ma, or like something like that, or they'll just be like, hey, what you doing, or I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a lot of friends that really catcall. And the other thing is, like, I don't see what's wrong with meeting people on the street. Like, I think some people I know, like friends of mine even, don't mind being approached on the street by like a nice looking guy. So at what point does it get like, it's only because you're ugly and I wouldn't fuck you that I find this annoying? Or if it was like some good looking guy that was doing the same thing, you might be like, what are you up to?
I have thought about that. Yeah. It's weird. Honestly, it's almost never a good looking guy. 100% of the times for me, it has never been someone that I would actually go out with.
Yeah.
It's usually men that are creepy. Because I remember I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and this man was like, hey, I've seen you before. You got that tight ass. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, what the hell do you think you are? And I wouldn't have given him the time of day. And for him to talk to me like that, it's just like, who are you?
Yeah, I agree. That's crossing
think,
the line.
Some men
you
think
got that tight ass.
Just because there's a woman alone, or just because there's a woman, that they have to do something. They have to talk to her. It's like, you don't have to do anything. Like, why can't you just be like, wow, that's a great looking person, and then just like let them walk away? I don't get it. And there's other ways that you can tell a woman that she's beautiful or that you're interested. You could say, that's a nice dress you have on, or
I agree.
not even that. Maybe a feminist would take that.
But
too
like the
seriously,
other thing that I've noticed is like the women that are complaining about it aren't usually the prettiest either. Like, since we're on that subject, it is like this sweater wearing bitch in flats is acting like everybody's just hot on her. And it's like, no, that's not your reality, hun. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's not you. You're not that girl. Yeah. But I don't know why that is either, because like all of us are looking at these people that write these blogs. When we have a chance to see them, we all take a glance, because it's like, what's this beauty that can't make it down the street without being harassed constantly? Let me have a gander.
Yeah.
And then you look and you're like, ugh.
You're like, wah, wah.
Yeah, the glasses are the least of your worries, sister.
I've actually have known people who are okay with being catcalled.
Yeah, I know people that are okay with being catcalled, and I also know people that just navigate it like instance by instance, you know, like they're just like, okay, let me go case by case on this one. And you know, I guess I don't understand it being such a violation. Like, I understand if things get on people's nerves or there's certain things that they don't want to deal with on certain days, but we all feel that way. And to me, sometimes when they make it like one of the points of what's supposed to be feminism, that's where I get like, nah, I really don't have your back on that. There are certain, the other day I got kicked off of a comedy group. And I didn't say anything wrong. I was just letting them know that, because this lady was talking about her lady team, which it hadn't occurred to me that they were talking improv talk. I thought they were comics. Anyway, I'm fine with everything they're saying, even though they're giving their opinion quite a bit at the same time. You know, like, this is the reason. What happened? Let me start from the beginning. What happened was these ladies had gone to a comedy show. Apparently improv, which I hadn't realized at the time. I thought they were at a stand-up show. And then they said that the stuff that was going on stage was misogynistic and whatever else, which I'm still with you. That's your opinion of what it was. Cool. Then they decide to get up and leave. And then I guess the people in the show started roasting them. Which I don't know how that works at improv. I didn't know that they could be that, like, you know, but whatever.
Improv kids usually aren't that mean.
Yeah, so maybe it was improv people went to watch a stand-up show.
What kind of insults did they fucking use? Like, you fucking little, you like, what? I don't get it. Like,
yeah, I don't know either. This is just,
you meanie pants. Like,
this was just what it was on the, you know, on the thing. So then, okay, so they started, like, you know, like, harassing them on the way out. I think that was the word she used, which I assume is roasting. You know, if you're getting harassed from the stage, then you would be probably getting roasted in some way. Which all this, I'm cool if you're bothered by it or whatever. But then they get to the part where they're like, at the end of the post, this person was like, I think we as comics need to be looking at each other during shows and asking ourselves, is this making anybody uncomfortable? Or am I uncomfortable right now? And then basically letting each other know, like policing each other on this. And that's where I feel like comedy and feminism have to be two separate things, just like comedy and any kind of activism have to be two separate things, because you're right. I should be sensitive to all of these things if I'm working in an office, or if I'm calling myself a feminist, or, you know, if I'm at a particular rally and want to fit in with the group. These are things that I should keep in mind. But as a comic, what's important to me is what's funny. So what I had let this person know on the post was, I was like, if you and your lady crew, it was something like, if you and your lady crew are worried about getting offended, live performance probably isn't for you. And then I was like, the only safe space is the apartment you pay for. And they took that as me saying that women should not be, that I was trying to discourage women from being at comedy shows. And I was like, no, I'm saying anybody. And I put the anybody in all caps. I was like, anybody that gets easily offended is not made for live performance. That's just what it is. Like at a stand-up show. And then I was going, like, talking about stand-up. At that point, I started mentioning stand-up. And then they started trying to tell me how stand-up was supposed to work. And I felt like, yeah, I've never heard of any of you.
You know what? Those are just people who have never been told no in their life, or have never faced any sort of adversity or anything. If you can't laugh at the flaws of whatever you are, like if you can't laugh at being black or being gay, or if you can't make fun of that or yourself, or then what's the point of living?
Yeah,
you know?
no, I
It's
agree.
Like, why are you taking everything so hard? It's like, if something's funny and it's offensive, fuck it, who cares? You know, I've heard mental health jokes that were probably would make me cry, but no, they're funny, you know? And
yeah, well, I figured you were on the cooler side because you go to Garage Open Mic, which we all know you can hear anything there. You never know what you're going to hear there. If you don't want to get triggered, that is not a mic for you.
You know, it's funny because I'm really glad that I beat all of that offensiveness. I'm really glad that I beat all of that offensiveness, like, out of me or whatever.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm glad that I beat feeling offensive out of me. We'll edit that. Um, but because I grew up very Christian and very, very conservative. So when I was in middle school, some of my friends would curse, and I'd be like, guys, don't say that. You can't say that. Okay, what are you doing? You can't do that. Like, God is watching. He's listening to you right now. You cannot curse. Like, that's really bad. We're all gonna go to church. Okay, we're gonna go on Sundays. We're gonna pray, and then oh my gosh, we should get baptized. Okay, we're gonna get baptism outfits. It's gonna be really cute. Like, I would just go on and on with trying to convert everyone, trying to convince everyone.
What religion were you?
Southern Baptist.
Okay.
So I came from a place where I was always offended all the time.
Yeah.
And then public school happened. And now nothing offends me because eventually you have to say, you know what? Life isn't catered to me. It's not about me. You know, as a Christian child, I would watch South Park and they would do like the stuff with Jesus, and I would be like, this is terrible. What are they doing? The show should be canceled. I'd be like crying. And then eventually I was like, you know what? This is life.
Yeah, that's
life,
a
man.
part of my thinking when I get when I notice what it is I'm supposed to put up with as opposed to what it is other people are supposed to put up with. Because I get it that these people have their particular triggers,
Right.
but like, you know, if I were to say what one of the things was that offended me when I was first starting to do stand-up, and if I were to still hold that, it would be that. Like when people talk about how they don't believe in God, just because I grew up believing in God and I do believe in God, like when people talk about not believing in God, sometimes there is a part of me that gets like, who the fuck are you?
I know, I'm like,
and I know I could really fucking wreck their set. You know, like, I know. But I just, you know, let it go because it's comedy and it's supposed to be funny. And if it's funny, I laugh. And so, like, at this point, I pretty much got it completely to where I'm just like, you know, if it's funny, I laugh.
Right.
If it's not, I don't. But every once in a while, those sorts of statements will kind of hit me a little bit the wrong way. But I know that it's, you know, it's everybody's right to say whatever they feel is funny. And then you let them know what you like and what you don't like by either laughing or not laughing. That's what our jobs are, you know, even especially as comics when we're doing the open mics together. Because, you know, that a lot of times there's no real audience there. It's just comics. So the best thing we can do for each other is be honest with our laughter. You know, if something's funny, you laugh at it. If it's not, then don't. I don't need you humoring me because we're friends. That's one of the things I don't need from my friends ever. I don't feel like I need you to laugh. If just make me look good. Like for what? The open mic? I needed you to get a read off this material, and that's, you know, what the other comics are good for. Like you being offended or whatever else, that doesn't factor into my thinking. I can't think about that because with me, there's so many things. And I do a joke about it where me just being me is offensive to some people. I'm gay, I'm Mexican, and I look Asian. You know, and for some people, that's too much. So what am I supposed to do? Not be me? And I was, you know, already out into, like, when I first started doing comedy, I used to have a lot of people politely tell me or suggest that I shouldn't talk about being gay that much, or maybe I should just not mention it. Like, these were the things that people would tell me when I first started doing comedy. So at that time, if I had listened to what they thought was offensive or I shouldn't be doing, then I just completely wouldn't talk about me, and I don't know what my act would be about. I guess, you know, weird observational humor, nothing personalized. You know, so for me, I'm just not really with the whole, like, I'm offended, so we need to change this or make sure that the other's comfortable. I don't think anybody should be comfortable at an open mic except for comics.
That's right.
I feel like regular people should be somewhat uncomfortable because you're looking at raw material, in a lot of cases, ideas we thought of that day. We're just trying to work this out. And I need to be able to say everything because sometimes I'll just go on these rants and I'll let my mouth work faster than my brain does. And I'll just let stuff come out. And a lot of times I'll find something in the, like, bobbing and weaving of it, but I don't know where I'm going and I don't know what I'm going to say on my way to where it is I'm trying to get to. So if I have people getting offended throughout and judging me off of every single word coming out of my mouth, and it's like, yeah, I can't do what I need to do, and I'm at a place that you want to talk about a safe space. This is supposed to be a safe space for comics. This is supposed to be where we actually think and are free, you know.
Right.
So I guess that's also what's gotten on my nerves about like what's calling itself feminism is a lot of feminists have found their way into comedy one way or another and now think it's their job to make sure that we all talk a certain way and think a certain way.
Yeah. I'll try to catch one of them trying to tell me what to do. See what happens now. But I don't know if I mentioned this to the listeners, but I have a female symbol stick and poke on my middle finger that I did myself. So, yeah.
What'd you do it with? Indian ink?
Yeah, India ink and a needle.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic. I don't think it's really that ironic, but part of me kind of wants to be a housewife as well. So I'm a little bit of like a hardcore feminist, but part of feminism is, you know, believing that women should choose whatever life they want. And if you want to be a housewife and if your husband or whatever is okay with that, and
yeah,
why
well,
not?
really, I think that's all feminism is and should be.
Right.
Like the real definition of it is like you should have the choice. It's not you have to be a career woman and that has to be what you want. I mean, my mom ran our house. And she didn't call herself a feminist, but she ran our house and was in charge of everything. And I don't think her and my dad were equals because my dad knew to fucking relax. You know, like let her do what she had to do.
That's exactly how my parents are. All the women in my family are very strong, make a lot of money, very powerful, and all the men are just laid back like, yeah, what's up? I'll just smoke this joint in the corner.
Yeah, my mom was a housewife and still ran it from there. It just wasn't like, you know, my dad's job was to go get the money, but that's, and I don't think he would be at all insulted or offended by me saying it. That's all his job was, just go get the money. She like pretty much figured out, like took care of everything as far as bills went, you know, like that's all at home stuff. She let us know, let him know when we needed to get beat. We didn't get spanked much at all, but like we did used to get spanked. Yeah, we did. It wasn't completely uncommon. It wasn't like, you know, wow, that happened. It was like, no, every once in a while.
It's funny because even though my mom was like the powerful one, whenever she would spank us, I'd be like, that's all you got? Like,
yeah, it's got to be dad that spanks you. My mom.
Because she was very nurturing too. So she was like an equal mix of both. Like she was powerful financially, but she was like way too nurturing on the mother's side.
You know, my mom was an asshole or is an asshole.
Yeah,
I love her, but
she can't do it.
She's a real dick. I love her, but she's just such a troll. That's what I would really call my mom, is she's a troll. She just likes to say shit to get on your nerves. She'll take the opposite side of the argument just to do it. Like, sometimes you're like, you don't even believe what you're saying.
Oh, mama.
OJ was innocent as far as she went.
Yeah, I've had my mom say something.
And she'll still argue it with you. She'll still be like, I don't care what you say. She'll tell you in so many words, I don't care what you say.
Yeah, we had like a conversation about the whole Mike Brown thing, and she was just like, what? I don't see anything. I'm like, girl. So like it happens. Like,
where were you on the Mike Brown thing?
Oh boy, I would rather not get too into this, but it's.
You took an unpopular position.
Oh, no. I'm on the Black Lives Matter stance. I think the whole thing is wrong. I think what happened should not have happened, and I think it's terrible that these cops are getting away with it. And
in Mike Brown specifically, though, because Mike Brown seemed to have been fucking up. Like that's.
Here's the thing. I try not to look too into the personal lives of the people that.
No, but like the incident itself, like during the incident itself, he actually hit the cop.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's what they ended up coming back with. I read a thing about it where they did.
Until now.
Yeah, check out the investigation thing on them. Like it turned out not to be the exact story that that people were giving on his behalf or whatever. You know, it turned out not to be exactly as they had put it, and that is what got on my nerves with Black Lives Matter, is they still continue to push that, and that's like the Ferguson Foundation is them talking about Mike Brown, and I just don't, like I said way back in the day that on that one, I agree with the poster, but not the poster boy. So I couldn't
Right.
I couldn't be on board with that. You know, like when people say Black Lives, even them calling it Black Lives Matter was made to make us argue, because then I have to say that Black lives don't matter, which isn't what I'm saying. You know, that's not what I'm saying at all. Like, technically, of course, Black lives matter.
Right.
But just sometimes people get themselves in dumb situations, and I wouldn't care if you were Mexican like me or white or whatever you were. I'm just like, yeah, that is unfortunate, but you shouldn't hit people that have guns. That's very much
I
where
guess
I'm.
you could say that. True.
That's
yeah.
very much where I'm at it with the, just as a person who's. I feel like I'm my own best defense in every situation. So if I can keep myself out of bad situations, that's what I'm
Right.
going to do. You know, but to like I said, I've been mad before and wanted to take off while the cops were running my information. Just because I'm so pissed off because I'm getting this ticket and I don't think I deserve it. And really, like, you know, all the thoughts we all have when we get pulled over by a cop when we're about to get a ticket, and I don't fucking need this, and it's going to be expensive, and I just want to fucking show this asshole and just take off. Just,
Right.
you know, high-speed chase.
Yeah, I never really got pulled over.
Yeah?
Probably once. And he was just, I think he wanted to check and see, like, what the deal was. Because, you know, it was around the same county that the whole Trayvon Martin thing happened in. So I guess he was like, oh, what's this about? But he just let me go, and that was it.
Yeah, my experiences with the police have been all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten along really well with police. I've had them let me off with warnings and be really cool with me. And then I've had more on the asshole side than I've had complete dicks. I've experienced a lot with, you know, different types of cops. I don't know. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, I think a lot of times they just will make a big deal out of cases where it's like, yeah, you can defend that if you want to, but it's just not the strongest one. Like, I don't know why they haven't really taken... In my opinion, they should have capitalized on the Philando Castile the way that they did Mike Brown. They should have given that kind of energy to that one, because that one actually upholds their case. That one's like, yeah, they were doing everything right aside from a broken tail light, and, you know, everybody can get behind that, where it's like, you know, broken tail light, you know, that could happen to anybody, and it's not, you know, whatever. But just like, I think that they should have went after it with that same Mike Brown fervor. Instead of, just to me, they pick bad ponies. It's like, I can't do this. Same with gay people in a lot of cases, where I just feel like they go after shit that I don't really care about. Like, you know, gay marriage was a thing to them, and it's like, yeah, I guess, you know, if that you really want to make that what your whole life is about, and make it seem like I'm second-class citizen because I can't get married, but maybe not being able to get married has saved me more than I would have saved myself when I was younger, because I was engaged several times. That's no secret. None of them fucking lasted. I sit before you a single woman.
I can't say the same.
Yeah, you've got a man. Don't brag.
I'm kidding.
He's here. I see him.
No, it took a while. I did not have luck in the dating department before I met him.
And how was it being a pretty girl on the open mic scene? How long were you on the open mic scene before you met Eric?
I started in January of 2015.
Okay.
I believe. So I've been doing this for about 2 years, or a year and a half ish. And when I first arrived on the scene, I'll never forget this. I was about to sign up to do the Laugh Factory open mic, and apparently sign-ups are at 6, and I was like, okay, great, I have to be there at 6. Now, for those of you that have done the mic, you know that you have to show up like 7 hours earlier.
2 in the afternoon.
If you want a spot.
Yeah.
So I show up at 6. There's like 15, 20 people there. And I get out of the car, and I'm wearing a floor-length blue dress, a black faux fur coat. It gets better. White opera-length gloves. And I'm like, I'm here for the open mic.
What were you going to do,
then-
Natasha Leggero?
No, I do get compared to her, but I'm into a lot of the old 50s and 60s kind of like in 20s vaudeville things. So I was like, okay, and I was watching a lot of Dean Martin, the the little variety shows at the time. So it was like, okay, this is my thing, this is my look, I'm gonna do this. So I show up there, and there's all these guys just looking at me like, oh my gosh, and and my roommate just drops me off, leaves me with them. And I'm just like, okay. And right away, I'm like, you guys, does the mic start? And there's all these guys, and they're like, well, yeah, but you have to get here earlier. And I'm just like, okay. And this one guy, I don't want to say his name. He was like, oh, well, he was trying to tell me some information about the mic. And I was like, oh, thanks. Next time, I'll be there at this time, blah, 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 thanks. And he's like, well, maybe I can get your number. We could write some jokes together. I'll help you out a bit. And I was like, I didn't know how to write jokes at the time. So I was like, oh, yeah, sure, we could do that. But I'm a very, like, I can see, here's the thing. I can hang out with men and not have sex with them or anything at all. So I was like, yeah, we'll sit together, write jokes, da-da-da. Like, I'm very business-oriented.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. And I exchanged numbers with him and just endless texts. And I was like, okay, this isn't... It went from, yeah, we should write together to let me know when you want your toes licked. I was like, okay, never doing that again.
Yeah.
So it was a little rough at first. There were moments when I would try to, I did tell a comic that I was interested in him, and he rejected me.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that was that. It's like I've had my moments where people would just flock to me in the beginning, but, there's a few other, girls on the scene that have taken my place, and I just let everyone flock to them instead. I'm like, okay, I'll be over here.
Yeah, but nothing will make you lose your shine like open mic comedy.
Right.
Like sometimes somebody will seem really hot, and then you'll hear their story, and you're like, you are damaged.
I know.
Yeah, it really will. Like, sometimes you're just like, whoa.
Exactly.
Glad I didn't have to go to coffee to learn that.
But yeah, being a woman on the scene, you do get those guys that are like, you do get those older men that that are like, yeah, I could teach you, what happens around here.
Yeah.
And then you believe them, but sometimes you're like, okay, I know what you're doing, but I'm bored, so why not? And
Oh, yeah, I know I'm bored, so why not?
yeah, and so then you get this little sexual / mentor.
That might be the name of my book.
Yeah. So I did go through the little thing where it's like I was dating a few comics who were quote unquote established, so they would teach me a few things about the business while we were hooking up, and then there were a few open micers that I dated, but we don't have to,
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's fun, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you have to deal with the creeps. I guess that's the other thing
Yeah.
I don't get when people make it seem like creeps are such a big deal. Because for the most part, creeps are kind of easy to lose.
Yeah. I did have an incident where I was at the Comedy Store and I was on the phone with my mother. And I was like, hey, I'm at the store. I'm just doing an open mic. I'm doing Kill Tony or something. And she was like, okay, but be careful because, those men. And I'm like, Mom, they're comics. They don't know how to talk to women, so I'm fine. Lo and behold, later that night, I'm coming back from a late night show. I think it was the Show Go Up or something like that. And
Sundays at
that would
11
be the
o'clock.
different, whatever. I don't
Comedy
know what day
Store
it was.
Belly Room.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And,
Sundays at 11 o'clock, Comedy Store Belly Room.
Right.
Show up, go up.
And I was walking.
Bucket of Destiny. Bucket of bar tabs.
Score your set.
Segments.
Lots of coke and acid. Anyway. And I was walking back, and I was with this other female comic, or used to be comic. And we're walking, and then this other male comic, he starts coming up to us, and he's like, hey, do you guys need a ride? And we're like, no, we're fine. We don't need a ride. And then we keep walking, and then we notice that he's still following us. And I was like, hey, so we don't need a ride. We're good. And he's like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't need a ride? And he comes up to me, and he starts touching on my stomach. And we were like, oh, my gosh, get away from. She was like, get away from her. And I'm like, get off of me. What the fuck? And then the great, amazing Don Barris, the Ding Dong Show, or had just got out. he and his crew, they all come out in their car and they notice us right there on the sidewalk. And they were like, hey, is everything okay? And we were like, no, nothing's okay. We were like, no, we need to get to our car, you know. And they were like, is this guy bothering you? We were like, yeah. So we got in the car. We got in Don's car, and he was like, look, I don't like what that guy was doing. I'm going to drive you guys to your car safely. I want to make sure you guys are okay. He really made sure that guy didn't do anything weird with us.
And that story 100% makes my point.
Right.
People are so worried about language policing, but Don Barris is the man who bailed you out in that situation. And if anybody ever heard Don Barris's set, they would assume he was the most misogynistic, most uncaring person in the fucking world. And Don Barris, like, that's exactly why I think people should stop worrying so much about words and concern themselves more with intentions and actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, worry more about that. Like, what's the person really thinking? Because all these, like, and I brought it up the other day on Facebook, but all these alt boys and improv boys pretend to be really good guys, and like they're feminists. They're everything they're supposed to be, but they're always the ones that are getting accused of raping people or being sexually aggressive. Where then you have more like the, you know, hardcore shit talking open mic, like bar open mic type. And yeah, they'll talk all sorts of shit on stage and get all that fucking annoying aggression out at that point. But then once you talk to them one-on-one, they're actually cool guys. And they're like, with me, I say whatever the fuck I want. I use the word bitch all the time. I talk a lot of shit, but like when people talk to me, I treat them with respect. As long as you're being respectful with me, I'll be respectful with you. You know, opposite with a lot of these people, the way that a lot of the people that want to call themselves open-minded and liberal and all the things that they call themselves, even social justice warriors, you know, it's weird to me that there are people that wear that as like a badge of honor, like yeah, I'm kind of an SJW, and it's like, you think that's a good thing?
No, those are some of the most uptight people, honestly. And you just mentioned it, the bar guys. I remember I was when I used to date another comic, we would kind of hang out with Jeff Karasalis sometimes. And I remember he would say some of the most outrageous things on stage. And when I first started, I would hear a set and I think, oh my fucking gosh. Now I hear it and I love it. And I remember having a conversation with him. And at the end, he goes, was that too mean? Was what I said too mean? And I was like, wow,
yeah,
he's probably going to kill me for saying this. But I was like, no, I think he's really a sweetheart on the inside.
Yeah, no, Jeff Karasalis is a great guy. He really is a great guy.
Yeah, so some of these guys that talk about gross, it's like you can't take what they say too seriously. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and different life experience lead people to talk different ways. That's just what it is, you know. Some people use certain words for things that other people find disgusting, you know, and it's sometimes regional, you know. It's almost like soda and pop in some ways, like, but it's just dirty words, you know. Like for some people, cunt isn't that bad of a word. Some people say the word cunt a lot. For some people, it's the worst word. It's the most, like, it's what you, like, everything, the only value of anything is what you assign to it. So people try to act like we're all supposed to assign the same value to everything, but that's not the way it is. You know, there's certain words for me that, you know, I did a stupid joke about it at one point, but somebody mentioned the Heimlich maneuver once, and it triggered me a little bit because I had to get the Heimlich when I was in first grade, and it took me to a place mentally that I didn't want to be in. But once I thought about it, it was funny to me, like, you know, and I was so proud of myself because I was like, I got triggered. I know. But it was over something that, like, to anybody else, it would be like, you know, so you expect people not to mention the Heimlich maneuver when you're in the room? Like, that's the way I see all of these things that people make such a big deal of. Somebody used to bully me because I used to use the word fag. So now every time I hear the word fag, it just triggers me, and you shouldn't say it. No. You need to hear the word fag more than anybody else, so you desensitize yourself to it.
I was just going to say that, yeah. Because I think you have to allow yourself to be triggered. The more you're triggered, the more you get used to it. It's kind of like when you're afraid of bridges. It's like, just go on the fucking bridge. Just get the fear over it, you know?
Yeah, that's how I started doing stand-up, or why I moved to LA, was because I had stage fright. The only way to get rid of that stage fright was to do it over and over and over, to where it's nothing, you know? And that's where I'm at now, and I could have stayed, you know, just... I write jokes at home. you know, like, I write jokes in my spare time, and every once in a while I send them to
Yeah, that's how I
Reader's
was.
Digest or whatever the new school version of that would be.
That's how I was too. Like I started stand up because I wanted to learn how to be social. I went through probably 90% of my life not talking.
Yeah,
My
you're
whole
just
life. Sorry.
in your shell.
Yeah, my whole life I was the quiet kid that sat in the back of the class and just drew, or they would like occasionally laugh at stuff every once in a while. So for me to be here doing stand up, it's very surreal. And I also had like an anxiety disorder that was so bad to the point where I couldn't even move sometimes. You know, I would sit in the back of the classroom and everyone would be handing in their tests, you know, everyone would be getting up, and I would have anxiety that was so crippling that I physically could not get up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't do it.
And so you just started forcing yourself.
Yeah, right.
That's great. That's
And
exactly what you're supposed to do.
And in college, this one guy was like, "Oh, you know, I do, you know, an open mic night," and I was like, out of nowhere, I don't know what gave me this idea, but I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna find out where that is, and I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, and I haven't stopped. You know. So.
Yeah. Well, thank God you did that and didn't write a blog.
Oh yeah, that's where I was, and that's where I probably would have stayed, because that's how I found out that I was funny. Because I would blog online, I would just sit there on my computer in the fucking dark like a loser. When you're on Tumblr, you're not on Tumblr for 5 hours. You're on there for days and weeks and months.
Yeah, I'm not young enough to have gone through the Tumblr. Like, I know that it's a whole thing and a whole community, and these people really, it doesn't seem healthy the way these people talk about it. Because it's like in some cases where it's like you should be out hanging out with kids your age and seeing what the world's really like. Because a lot of people don't understand this, and this is going to sound ridiculous to some people, but there are a lot of people living so much of their lives online that they really think that that's what the world is. Mm-hmm. Like, they really believe that. And I know I've been able to see it to such extremes. That's why I talk about it sometimes, is because I have some days where a lot of people hate me online. Really hate me. Yeah, you've seen it.
I'll peek every once in a while. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, they really hate me. So if I were to stay in my apartment and just pay attention to that, I would think that everybody hates me. But I always just go straight to the Comedy Store or to the closest open mic. I just go somewhere just because I do everything while people are hating me online. Mm-hmm. You know, people think I'm at home arguing with them. I'm at the gym. I'm like, you know, getting groceries. I'm just doing it in between shit, you know, talking to friends and then like checking the wording with a friend every once in a while. You're like, you think that makes the point? You know, like.
Yeah, like when
I live a lot of life, you know, so, but like if I really just stayed home, I've had days where I've, you know, spent a good part of the day just by myself. Mm-hmm. And like in my head, I'm thinking like, you know, well, it really seems like a lot of people hate me today. And then I go out into the world and I'm like, oh yeah, complete opposite. Everybody loves me like always.
But yeah, for me, like I remember when I would get hate online and I would actually believe it. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't talk that much in high school. It's weird. Like, I didn't have that many friends. But the second I got out of high school, people started looking at my blog. They started looking at my stuff online. I started getting all this feedback that I never got. Like, people started saying all this stuff to me that they would have never said to my face when I was in high school.
Yeah, no, that's...
And all of a sudden, it was, like, right in my face. And I was just like, you know what? If people are choosing to hate this fictionalized version of me that they have in their head, then go ahead. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to live my life. I'm going to protect my vibes and fuck it. Who cares?
That's exactly the way I feel about it. It's just the vibes I have are a lot worse than yours. I protect my vibes too, but I think you have like good vibes coming out of you. My vibes are all over the place.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. You just have to protect your vibes. If somebody's coming at you and they're angry, you don't have to be a part of that. You don't have to be a part of you don't have to be an extra in someone's scene. You know?
I agree with that.
If someone is angry with you online, you don't have to look at that shit. First of all, I I remember I saw this screen cap of a Tyler the Creator tweet. It was kind of horrible. It was like, man, if you kill yourself online, like I don't feel sorry for you. Just fucking close your computer or something. It was something like that. It was. No, I don't know if he said if you kill yourself, but it was something like, I don't feel sorry for bullies. It's like just close your laptop.
Yeah.
If it's that bad, just like fucking, you can turn it off. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to look at it. These people aren't right in front of you, you know?
The block button is my friend. I don't
Right.
mind that at all. I don't consider that to be a cheap move in life. If somebody's not saying anything productive and all they're trying to do is tear you down, block.
Exactly.
Physical threats, block.
Yeah.
What, you know, like any of that stuff that they're trying to do, it's like, cool,
Mhm.
block. I don't need to hear you.
Yeah. And that's why I don't get about the celebrities that fire back at people. It's like, look, I'm not doing shit with my life, and I couldn't care less what people online think of me. If I have millions of dollars, I'm working, you think I'm going to care what Jim Bob in Akron, Ohio thinks? Hell no. Like,
Yeah,
It's
my social media
unbelievable.
after I make it turns into North Korea.
yeah.
Anybody that doesn't think I'm a god doesn't need to exist.
Right. Right. Or they die.
That's what's happening on my social media once I make it.
My boyfriend's like cracking up. Laughing into his Dasani. Sponsored by Dasani.
Yeah, I'm Dasani guy. I can't wait till Dasani's sending me this by the case. It'll be Dasani
They'll
for
be like,
everybody.
we heard you were thirsty. Like written by some fucking
Yeah, I'll be
intern.
acting like it's fucking NASCAR around here with
I
the
know.
fucking Dasani.
I know.
All right, Kayla. Well, it was really nice actually getting to know you better than just when we say hi at garage.
I know. Yeah, this was our first conversation.
Yeah, you make more sense now. Cause I
Yeah.
had assumed you either didn't like me because I wasn't
No.
like feminist type, or that you were what's it called? There was another option. It wasn't just a bitch either.
No, you know what the thing is about me? Everyone says I have this like, I don't think you would like me, or I have this intimidating look because I just don't. I don't know.
I don't
get that a
know.
lot.
I guess I had a weird, like, I had a, here's the thing I would say, I thought maybe you were just standoffish, which I don't
I get
consider
that
a
all the
bad
time.
thing. I just, like, when people are standoffish, I'm more like, you know, I'll let them come
No.
around when they want.
I think a lot. I'm an introvert. I'm thinking about fucking universes and jokes and puppies, and I have ADD, so I think about a million things, and I'm just in my head. That's all it is. So
Yeah.
if anyone
Do
sees me
yourself
at
a
a
favor
mic,
and don't try to change that shit. Just be
Yeah.
you. Like,
That's-
there's nothing worse than trying to make people happy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Let people continue to think you're aloof or whatever they think in their head. That, again, that's like goes back to your thing.
yeah,
That's them projecting and what they want it
Yeah.
to be. So, like, just
Yeah.
keep being you, because I see so many people like changing for every
Mhm.
person that they meet, and it's kind of like, okay, well, who are you now?
yeah,
You know, like now you're just this person that tries to please everybody.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being in your head. I don't even know, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't even know if I technically believe in ADD. I mean, like, people have told me I'm
Oh, it's
ADD, and
very
I'm
real.
like, how the fuck is it my fault you don't know how to tell a story? Like,
very
I'm
real.
not paying attention because you're not that interesting. It's not about.
Yeah, but yeah, I just keep to myself. You know, as Jade from America's Next Top Model said, this is not America's Next Best Friend. I'm here to do my thing and leave, and that's. I mean, I'll say hi and bye, but you
Yeah,
know,
the gay
I'm
version
not
of that
here
is
to-
from RuPaul's Drag Race. This
Yeah.
ain't RuPaul's Best Friend Race.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like I'm there to do comedy. And
All the
that's it.
fucking queens can quote that, and I just fucked it up. Now I'm gonna get read by the gay community. God damn it!
Read ha. The library is open.
I'm gonna get dragged online. All right. Well, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Beer Rita Hayworth. It's a play on Rita Hayworth's name.
Bia Rita Hayworth.
Beer Rita Hayworth. And you can find me on Facebook at Kayla Bernadette.
Kayla Bernadette.
Yeah, I'm trying to not really do the social media thing, but
Do you have
I'm old school.
a Facebook like page, or are you just a regular friend page?
Yeah, just a regular friend page. If I know you, fucking add me, why not?
Yeah. You should get a like page. That way you don't have creeps knowing your personal information. And your like
see-
page can be nothing but comedy, and then your personal page can be personal.
I don't know. I have a whole weird thing about like pages. I don't need it. I don't. Nah.
All right, guys. Well, we're ending Unbothered by Ty Rivera on a negative note.
Love and light, everyone.
Tried to give a little bit of advice and got shut down. So yeah, stay you, Kayla Bernadette. Stay you.
I'll be stuck in the 60s.
I can
See
be
y'all.
found at America's Favorite Fag. Everybody, thanks for listening to Unbothered by Ty Rivera. Thank you, Kayla.
You're welcome.